Super Bowl.
Brady goes for the deep shot. He's got a touchdown.
And Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome to the Bucs Banter podcast. This is episode 53, and tonight we are going to be providing some Bucs banter as we always do before digging into the 2022 NFL schedule, specifically the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, of course. Before we get going on that, I just want to ask anyone who's watching or listening, only if you enjoy the content, of course, to please go ahead and subscribe to the Bucs Banter podcast on YouTube. Turn those notifications on so you're notified whenever we go live, and you can be a part of the show as it happens. It also helps us out a bunch, so it's much appreciated if you do. Also, make sure you're checking out bucsgameday.com on the regular. It is the only Sports Illustrated website dedicated specifically to the Buccaneers. It is also the fastest growing Bucs site in the world, and we've got articles dropping what feels like every hour. So if you're tuned into Bucs Game Day, you're not going to miss out on any news as it relates to the Buccaneers. And good God, there has been a lot of Bucs news so far this offseason. Now, time to introduce my talented co-hosts of the Bucs Banter podcast, neither of whom are Bucs fans, but both of whom offer a tremendous amount of knowledge and insight on the NFL. And they have a valuable role here on the show, if you don't already know, because they keep me honest and they give our listeners the objective, unbiased opinions and analysis that is so important to the overall quality of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Bodan Yard and Scott Capron.
What up?
Hey, what's
throwback
up?
intro?
Colin, you want to maybe get a glass of water after that? Are you okay? You look a little flush. That's all. Yeah, there we go.
I always look flush.
What an intro. The only thing I would say is, you said like and subscribe if you like the content. Even if you don't, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just toss a subscription out there. Just smash it. And
a like is a like.
Give us
exactly.
Spite likes are welcome too.
Oh my goodness. You just described high school for me with chicks. So there you go.
Yeah. So I want to discuss some items before we get to the NFL schedule release, because we'll have a bit more clarity on that as the show goes on. Pretty confident, though, that I've got all the Bucs games lined up for us. So there are some things we need to catch up on first. I do want to say, though, I find the pre-schedule release mania to be utterly ridiculous. Like how this is handled and embraced. And I'm following along too, I guess. But it's just, when did this become this countdown and slowly leaking out? I guess the NFL really does run shit these days, and they've found a way to drag this out into the in any other sport is the schedule release this
not
huge,
like this.
It's crazy. Anyway, speaking of broadcasting, because a lot of these games we expect to be broadcasted in prime time when we get to the Bucs schedule, we haven't yet talked about the fact that Tom Brady has reportedly agreed to a 10-year, $375 million deal to become the next main stage TV analyst for Fox Sports alongside Kevin Burkhardt, or Fox in general, alongside Kevin Burkhardt. He'll be overtaking the role previously held by Troy Aikman for the past 20 years. It's been talked about that he will be earning more than he's ever earned in the NFL over that time, that 10 years. So if he sticks there for the duration, he will out-earn his on-the-field earnings as the greatest quarterback of all time. What are your thoughts, boys? Where do you want to start in terms of Brady making the move to the booth?
I mean, that's just it. Where do you want to start? There are so many avenues and offshoots off this. First of all, the guy just really wants to spend time with his family. So that's why he's taking a job traveling for 5 months out of the year as soon as football ends. So, I mean, can totally see where he's coming from there. No, but seriously, I mean, he has cited the whole family thing quite a bit. And I'm not saying that it's a bad decision or anything. It's just it's pretty funny to immediately go from the field to the booth. But I mean, that's generally how it goes, I suppose. Obviously, the money itself is absolutely ludicrous. I mean, good for him. Get that bag. I think he's a pretty big Fox supporter from what I can tell. So, good for him there to get the paycheck off the home company. But I don't know, Bo, is there any chance he's better than Romo?
I think that was my first question was is he going to be good at this?
Yeah. And that's probably ridiculous. It's just, and like don't underestimate him. He probably I'm sure has been looking at what Romo has done, and it is kind of aware of what the gold standard is. But and also he doesn't have to be as good as Romo. I don't really care, and I don't think anyone cares. It's just I think it's going to be very hard for him to be the best, and that's not a dig as much as it is just an observation.
I just think it's going to be so interesting to see him call a Patriots game. Like questioning a Belichick decision on air will be really interesting to me. And then like calling a Bucs game at the same time, right? Like I feel like he'll be, because that team will be his team basically, right? Like that'll be the team that he just left. And like all of those guys he knows so well. So like being critical of those guys as well is going to be super interesting to me. I think like where you said it was like the way that it goes, like I feel for these big time quarterbacks, they usually take a few years before they actually jump back in it. So everything's going to be so fresh for him. If this is his last year and next year he immediately starts calling games.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess it's a pretty small sample. It's basically like, although I don't really remember when, Boomer Esiason or Phil Simms, or like how long of a lag there was in between. But I guess I'm really just comparing him to contemporaries like Peyton, Romo, and Drew Brees, right? But and just obviously his knowledge of the league from different coaches, different schemes, especially if he's going to be doing, NFC South and AFC East games after, just after years playing against those squads. I mean, I believe he would be doing more NFC games if he's with Fox, right? Which makes sense, I suppose. It's just
they're going to find a way to get
knowledge of the league is unparalleled, and it's going to come through. I think it's just a matter of how he can actually explain the football going on and how it conveys to the audience.
You need that Les Snead shirt instead of fuck them picks, fuck them kids. I mean, I can't take credit for that. I obviously saw that on Twitter, but I thought it was excellent material.
Really good.
Speaking of excellent material, I think Brady's going to be fantastic, man. I'll like a lot of people, of course it could go any which way, as is the case with any former athlete turned broadcaster. It's certainly, I don't want to call it risky as an investment by Fox, but they're taking a gamble offering that 10-year deal. But is it a gamble? Like it's Tom fucking Brady. So
Tom Brady, I don't think
everyone will watch just based on name alone.
Yeah, it's smart. And I just can't see him. So I've just noticed such a transformation, and I don't think it's with who Tom Brady is, but I think it's with how comfortable he is portraying his like charismatic side or his fun-loving side since he came to Tampa. And in doing so, I've just found him to be super enjoyable when I hear him talk, like just some of the fun stuff he does for the Bucs media, like with Gronk, Tommy and Gronky, for example. Like I think, and you can't dispute the guy's knowledge. He's got more experience than anyone. He's the best who's ever played. And the amount of stories he must have, the hope is that he'll be willing to unveil a good chunk of those. And I'm sure those are details he's gone over with Fox, and they've, ironed out what they're going to expect from him. I think he's like, if I got to bet, I think he's going to do a fantastic job.
I think I just had to ask the question just because I'm just like, I wonder if he's going to be good at it, because I just don't know for sure, but I would assume he's going to be good at it. But it does say something just in general, this move. Like, this is a very traditional sports media move. Like, quarterback goes into the broadcasting booth and calls games. Whereas like something like Peyton, what Peyton's doing with his brother, with Eli on Monday nights, like it's so different. And like, I just assumed that Tom Brady was kind of he's got this whole TB12 method and everything. I kind of assumed he was going to take like a different path post football.
Great point.
It is surprising that like from a sports media landscape that he was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the biggest check to do the most traditional thing possible.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
And I was kind of making light a little bit earlier just about the Romo thing, but honestly, I wonder if he's like, all right, then I'm just going to become the best at this too.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't be shocked at all if he's putting the reps in and doing name pronunciations in his sleep and stuff like that to get prepared. It's just Romo is so in a class of his own, whether or not that's actually true, but that's at least the perception, right? So I really wonder if Brady's competitiveness alone, it's like, no, I'm going to do this job because Bo, I hadn't thought, you're right. There's so many other areas of football he could have gotten into. I mean, none that would have paid him 37.5 per year, but
well, like, who knows, right? Like, I don't think LeBron's going to be calling games, but LeBron's going to be doing something with like sports media when he's done. He has this whole media company already set up waiting for him, right? I'm like kind of surprised that Brady didn't want to do something on his own, is what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
Yeah. Scott, to your point, there's no doubt, I think, that he's going to do his damnedest to be the best. But the thing is, this isn't the football field. So no matter how hard he tries, it won't guarantee that he'll be good, right? So that's what'll be interesting. And I think the big thing with Romo, I mean, Romo still fucks up all the time. Like, he says weird shit. I'm like, huh? But he's so genuinely enthusiastic. He's not masking who he is, right? The enthusiasm is what comes across, in addition to obviously his uncanny ability to predict plays, which is just a huge asset that no analyst had really gone to the lengths to try to do before. And Romo's just like, screw it, I'll try and guess this play, and I'm going to bat about 85% in doing it. Just a couple of ways that I think Romo's kind of distinguished himself into that role, because he is fantastic. And having a good play-by-play guy also goes a long way, and that's something, you know, Aikman's had. That's what Romo has in Jim Nantz. And Burkhardt, I think I'm saying it right. He's pretty solid too. He's really good. So
he's really good.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Aikman?
I love Troy Aikman, and I'm not afraid to say it. I think he's fantastic.
I think he's gotten so like exponentially better from when he started.
I think it's such low-hanging fruit to, unless it's like that one Monday Night Booth with Booger McFarland and whoever. I can't.
Jason Witten.
Like, they were bad. But even still, it's like, imagine starting a job and you're in front of 50 million people, like, and then everyone has a Twitter account to like blast you and say, you suck. Like, hard to get better in that situation. I'm not saying I have an answer. It's just, you know, people are so quick to kill these announcers. And I'm always like, I don't know, man. Did it ruin the game? No. Very rarely ruins the game for me. So, and I feel like Aikman is not only good, but he's certainly not bad. And I feel like he gets killed on Twitter every week.
Aikman, for whatever reason, has taken a lot of heat because he does tons of Cowboys games with Fox. Like, you know, they're always in that 4 p.m. slot, and that's usually the game he does. I find, if anything, Aikman is incredibly unbiased and objective when doing Cowboys games, and he's so comfortable offering criticism in a way that's not completely sewering guys. But I think he's great. I really do.
He's really good.
That would be my exact analysis. Listen to him do a Cowboys game. You tell me that he's their best, like, all-time leader quarterback. No one would be able to tell that if they didn't know already. Yeah. Like, he's totally objective. And the funny thing is, if he's being compared against Romo, he's on the rival network, CBS. He was also Cowboys quarterback. You know, just maybe he's not as good as Romo. It doesn't mean he's like sucks shit, which is what everyone seems to say. I think he's fine.
You're right, though. It is low-hanging fruit. I will say, though, I enjoy a game. I think more of it depends on the quality of analysis for me than maybe it should. And maybe it's just something I've chosen to zero in on over the years. I don't know. But I will say it can affect a game a little bit for me. I mean, especially if it's like a shitty game that I'm watching anyway. That's when I really notice it. Like, if it's like a shit game and I'm like stuck watching it.
To me, like, good analysis just increases the whole experience, but bad analysis doesn't really take anything away. I'm kind of like, know what I'm getting into if X and Y are doing the game. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like,
I would agree with that. That's fair. Not a difference maker, but can certainly improve the quality.
I think it's only an additive sort of thing. But that's just me.
But talking about these guys who just get absolutely annihilated on, and you know, it all comes back to the power of the voice, to giving the voice to the fans via Twitter, right? And whatever, so the social media, like, so everyone's hearing everyone's opinions and whatnot. But Brady is going to get absolutely annihilated no matter what, because people are just waiting for a chance for him to not be in that position where he's so comfortable, which is under center on a football field. So it's you know, who wouldn't take that kind of money to be just ravaged by keyboard warriors? Anyone would, but it's going to be an adjustment for him, man, because he's not.
No kidding.
on stable ground of sorts. But anyway, the only other aspect of the Brady deal, again, 10 years, $375 million with Fox, is what does this mean for like this being announced? Does it make you think this is it? Like, is this his last year, or does it really have no bearing? Because for Fox to agree to announce this now, I guess actually if you're Fox, you probably want to announce it as soon as possible. So
yeah,
it's no matter what. But like, I wonder if like Brady's been like, it'll probably be after this year, boys. Like, don't worry, or if I don't know. So I'm just kind of curious if you guys have thoughts on that.
I've been thinking about this nonstop, actually. I think the best case scenario for Fox is that Brady retires, does like 6 games, and then says, no, I'm coming back. And like, I just couldn't take it. I was in that booth and I couldn't take it. I just have to play football. And he comes back and he plays for he closes out the year and wins a Super Bowl again. And then he retires.
It's too bad.
This year?
Yeah. No, not this year. Next year.
Next year, he's saying.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Like he retires at the end of this year, and then 6 weeks go by, and he's just like, man, I'm so much better than these guys. I can just go right now.
Okay.
Because then it's like Fox broadcaster wins Super Bowl.
Yeah. Fox broadcaster loses the mic at halftime and comes in and throws a touchdown pass.
I'm not going to speculate on Brady's future in general, but it does give me even a little more pause. But I'm not looking beyond this year anymore. I'm just grateful that Tom Brady's given us one more kick at the can, and we'll see what happens. You know, if he wins a Super Bowl, I think Fox would have it the next year, I believe. Not this Super Bowl, but the next one. So that's interesting too. But
yeah, well, while Bodan's coming up with Pixar movie ideas, I'll say I think if he keeps playing, they're like great. It's still just another thing to look forward to. It's not like he's going to lose his value or lose his appeal, right? Like it's almost another like carrot to dangle or something like that. I think they would probably rather sooner than later. But if the terms of the deal aren't any different, and the reason he's not broadcasting is because he's still playing at a high level for 2 more years. I mean, I got to assume that's okay.
And it's not like Brady needs money. So if he were to play another year in the NFL, he's just prolonging that 10-year contract because it's not going to start till he's working for them. So
yeah, exactly.
Interesting stuff. Let's move along though, because we have some things I want to hit on before we get to the NFL schedule release, especially for the Bucs. That's what we'll be focusing on. I published an article this week about Lewis Cine because he had some comments on the Richard Sherman podcast. I don't know if you guys are aware. Where it's the same thing. You hear about it every year from some prospect, usually like saying, "Oh, they told me they were going to take me if I was there." So he said it about the Bucs. He said, that there was a team at 27, they did me dirty, more or less, paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And he was referring to the Bucs because he's like, and then they traded out to the top of the second round. So I had thoughts on it because the one thing that I've maintained throughout this is I do find it ridiculous for any NFL team to ever make a promise to a prospect. I really don't understand who it benefits, what it's good for. Like, you don't need to say, we love you. There's a great chance we take you. Like, why do you need to say more than that? Now, there's a couple things before you guys chime in I want to mention because I have gone back on Twitter with some people who brought up some good points. John Ledyard, formerly of the Pewter Report, was saying, it's almost like agents and players take things a little too much to heart or aren't really or are listening to what they want to hear, which is interesting. But there was actually another agent who then commented on Lewis Cine's. Someone posted Lewis Cine's commentary, and then they commented on that saying same thing happened with my client. So it's interesting. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the promise thing. Seems to mean absolutely nothing. Now, it kind of takes 2 to tango in that situation. Like, hey, teams, stop throwing the promises out there. I mean, I've definitely read about it in the NBA draft as well, where people are staying in the draft because they've been promised as a second rounder, or we're looking at you towards the back end of the draft, and they don't get picked, and it's no guaranteed money after that. But I think there is an element for sure of guys hearing what they want to hear, and maybe it's really more of a, yeah, we really like you and we would love to have you, and maybe that's what they're taking as a promise. I don't know.
I went the other way when I read your article. when I read your article, Colin, I was just like, I think it benefits both. Or like in theory, it's supposed to benefit both the team and the player. So the team lets out this promise and says, basically, don't work out for these guys because we're going to take you at 27 no matter what. So basically narrows the amount of teams that you're going to be able to work out for. You'll only work out for people that are picking above 27. And then for like the player, they just use it as leverage. They just use it as leverage to say, well, like I'll work out for you if you promise to pick me earlier than 27. Otherwise, I don't really care. Like I'm just gonna get picked at 27 anyways. But then it goes to shit sometimes too, right? Like in this situation, it happens like this. But like Scott said, like this exact same thing, like Brian Colangelo in the NBA was like notorious for always giving out promises and giving out like lottery promises. And I remember one year was the Dion Waiters year.
I wish he lied to Bargnani.
I know, me too. Dude, at one. He gives out a promise to Dion Waiters that he's going to pick him at 9, I think it was. And the Cavs panicked and picked him up at 4. It's like, how did that happen? He didn't work out for anyone. He like stopped workouts right at the start of the draft process. So like sometimes it works out and it benefits the player. But like for Lewis Cine, like it still kind of worked. Didn't he still go in the first round?
Yeah, he ended up going with the last pick in the first round of the Vikings.
So like, what's he complaining about? Like the same 5-year option. Like what's the issue?
Yeah, I think he probably, in hindsight, maybe wouldn't have like pinned it. He should have just been a little more general and been like, yeah, the team promised me they'd take me and they didn't. Like, you don't really need to go at the team because it's it's not a great look. So like, that article when he posted it for
I think it's more just pissed off. Like, yeah, man, they said one thing and didn't do it. Didn't crazily affect him for his draft position, right? But I would be annoyed too. Although I think I would be going in with a little bit of, oh, okay, I have a promise. Let's see what that's worth. But I don't know what these guys are getting told or what the agents are saying. Or
like when you're especially if you're an NFL prospect at the back end of the first round, like you're hoping to get that 5th-year option. But like I can see what the Bucs are doing. They're like, yeah, we traded back because we wanted more picks and we thought we could still get you at 33. You went at 32. Like, who cares?
And not even that. Like, I think you're right. Like, they thought there was probably still a good chance they could take Cine. And I do believe that's who they probably would have taken there. There was enough smoke with that just from all different angles. It made too much sense. But I think they were comfortable with a couple names and they knew then someone would be there. So by moving back, though, they acquired an additional 4th and an additional 6th. So that got them Kate Otten, right? Their tight end of the future, which was just a fantastic value pick. At the start of the 4th. And then they also ended up using that 6th rounder they acquired to move up like 6 spots, maybe 3 spots. I can't forget, I can't recall, to take Luke Gadecki, who they took at 57. So, I mean, Jason Light knew what he was doing and the draft capital he took advantage of. It's just, so you can't, like, even if the Bucs did break the promise, whether it was a promise, doesn't really matter because they got to do what's best for the team.
Exactly.
And the other point that came up on Twitter was, often, I think these prospects and their agents need to take into consideration who's telling them these comments. Because I sure as hell bet you Bucs GM Jason Light wasn't making the promise. Right? Could have been an area scout at his pro day or whomever. So, take that with a grain of salt. Understand it's a business.
That's like the Eastbound and Down when Kenny Powers gets the promise to go to the big leagues, and then the scout comes like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't have the authority to say anything. Like, oh, okay, right? Maybe that's what happened. We don't, right? Like, who knows?
Shit, man, I'm a great reference. I haven't seen all that, but that was some funny shit. That show.
Oh, man.
Oh my god, that first season is pretty bulletproof.
Unbelievable.
Actually.
Yeah. So, and the only other thing is, I'm sure Cine was feeling a little bit salty because he could have been playing with Tom Brady in Tampa, contending for a Super Bowl, and now he's going to be, living in Minnesota. So
with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Getting worn out by Justin Jefferson every day on practice.
Right. Okay. Speaking of former draft picks, so Clyde Christensen during his press conference this week, that's the Buccaneers quarterback coach for anyone who doesn't know. Well-respected quarterback coach around the league, that's for sure. During his comments, he made it pretty clear that, and this has been like a major talking point in Bucs land for amongst Bucs fans, the Floridians especially. He ultimately said that Blaine Gabbert will be the number 2 quarterback, more or less. That Kyle Trask is going to be having that what he'll call his like second redshirt year per se. And like Twitter and social media is all up in arms because Bucs fans are like, they're all mad about it. And I'm like, in my mind though, I like, good. I'm glad. I would honestly rather Gabbert, who I can like if Trask hasn't run away with it and he hasn't had any like real reps to earn the role yet. I mean, this team is built to win right now, and I don't think an experimental quarterback would be the best, would put them in the best position to win games down the stretch or at any point of the year. So I have no issue with it, but I just wanted to bring it up because it has certainly has lit the fire under many Bucs fans, many of whom may have certain associations to a collegiate program with an alligator from that stuff.
Yeah, so that's that would have been my exact point. Is like, is this just a weird Tampa and like Gator thing? Because who gives a shit? Where do they take Trask in the third round?
Second.
Okay,
last pick in the second.
Yeah,
which I wasn't a fan of, and I'm still not.
Yeah.
But
he throws pillows out there. The guy's got no arm. It's unbelievable. I just don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
What do you owe? Like, oh my God, we were really hoping to turn the keys over to the second rounder. Like, who gives a shit? Just play whoever can play.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a big, like, I think you hit it exactly, Boom. Like, it's a Kyle Trask problem if he's not the number 2 quarterback. Like, if you can't beat out Blaine Gabbert for number 2, you're probably not going to have a very long career in this league.
Yeah.
Is the way that I would look at it.
For sure. And Gabbert, while we know what his limitations, obviously, it seems like he's still been quite involved and invested in trying to play and like carving out a Chase Daniel type role in the league. Like, because we saw how bad he was. So I feel like the fact that he's probably improved as a backup under Brady and is actually like a testament to him.
Remember, you guys were shocked when I was saying I'd rather Gabbert than Minshew or whatever, or we were talking about that. Maybe you weren't shocked, but you guys were kind of like, oh, this is a rough spot to be. It's because
that was when we didn't think you'd had Tom Brady.
Brady.
Yeah, sorry. Prior to Brady. But it's because of what you just said, Scott. I truly believe he has improved, even though I don't have I just by the way he's talked about and by the respect he's earned in the locker room and from his performance in practice and like the brief snippets we've seen in games, I just think he has improved probably in this role. I think this is like a perfect role for him. Like maybe he's a high level backup for all we know. Tom Brady's so damn durable. Thank God we don't have to find out, or we haven't yet. But
I agree with all of that, and I think whoever was playing better would be the second stringer, and then that's all it is. They don't owe Trask anything. It's not like, I don't know. I just feel like Gabbert must be better, so then that makes a ton of sense.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in the building that were hoping that Kyle Trask could win that job.
Sure.
Going into this year, which is like more or less Brady's last year, I'm sure they would like to have the succession plan already in the building. And they're not thinking that it's going to be Blaine Gabbert. Like, they would like for it to be Kyle Trask, this guy that we got in the second round, and we can build around because he's on this super team-friendly contract. Like, the fact that he's not the second-string quarterback is a pretty big red flag for Kyle Trask, not for the Bucs.
For sure. I totally agree, Bo, but I feel like the wording you used was key. They would like it to be Trask.
Yeah.
If it's not, then,
they'd be ecstatic if it was.
Trask has been developmental in high school and college. Maybe it's like part of the plan. Like he's just not ready yet. And, I don't think we'll see. Anyway, enough Trask. A couple more things before we talk about the schedule, because it's up for the Bucs and we got to get to that. Bucs signed 4 of their 8 draft picks. Good. I mean, you don't hear about them not signing draft picks usually. So, but anyway, Rashad White, their 3rd round running back, cornerback Zion Williams in the 5th, Kieft, the Chief, in the 6th, and Andre Anthony, edge rusher, in the 7th round at LSU. So they've all signed. Top few picks still need to be signed. That'll happen. So who cares? No need to talk about it.
You're not nervous about Cade at all?
No. Cade will be here. And I'm hopeful Gronk will too, sooner than later. Come on. Come on, Gronky boy.
Yeah. Week 5, dust him off.
Yeah. So Luke Gadecki, the player out of Central Michigan, who the Bucs selected 57th overall. I had Thor Nystrom of NBC Sports Edge on the show last week. He had a lot of nice things to say about Gadecki. Sees him as a starting guard in the NFL right away. They've announced, again, some of these coaches' press conferences this past week that there's going to be an open competition, more or less, at the left guard spot, which is the position that Ali Marpet held down for so long. So that's interesting. I mean, Aaron Stinney, Robert Hainsey, their third rounder last year, I believe, out of Notre Dame, another converted tackle, just like Gadecki. Those three are really going to be battling for that starting left guard spot. I think it's going to be Gadecki. I mean, unless something happens, it seems with that investment, 57th overall, they really like him. And so that's interesting, though, that it'll be a competition. I guess I got to say that. And
I thought Hainsey was a center, was projected to be a center.
Good. You're good, Bo. I mentioned objective. You're not Bucs fans, but the fact you're on that makes my heart tingle.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a center too.
Well, what you should have said, Scott, wasn't he a tackle at Notre Dame? Because he was.
I thought, he played a little tackle. Yeah, I played a little tackle. Oh, okay. Yeah,
got the short arm syndrome.
Yeah, he's got skinny legs, which is concerning to me. But he was a tackle at Notre Dame, projected better at along the interior. At the Senior Bowl, they had him playing center. Bucs drafted him and trained him last year at center with Ryan Jensen as an impending free agent. Good chance Jensen wasn't going to be around. We got Big Red back for another 3 years, so I think now he's going to be trained over at guard. But that's just a valuable swing player to have. They've got some depth there now along the offensive line, and obviously that's become a priority based on the success they've had with such a dominant offensive line unit. Which reminds me, actually, I'll plug another article. Is Pro Football Focus put out a piece ranking like the top tiers and rankings of offensive tackles in the NFL. Ben Lindsay was the author, and Tristan Wirfs came in at number 3 in the league, third best tackle, playing on his rookie deal. Pretty incredible. And as I said in the article, Bucs fans, anyone who watches Tristan Wirfs doesn't need that to know they don't need a ranking on PFF to know he's elite, but it's just cool to see him get that recognition, being so much younger than all the other top guys, like decade younger. Ryan Ramczyk and Teron Armstead and all those guys are all way older than him. He's 23. He's a year younger than Devontae Wyatt, who was just taken in the first round by the Packers.
Dude, that's great. Wow. That right there is crazy. But yeah, I'm getting kind of like Tyron Smith vibes from Dallas with Wirfs, where every year that went by, he was like Benjamin Buttoning and somehow being even young. You know what I mean? It was like, in his 8th year in the league, 16-year-old Tyron Smith, right? Like it was like the guy never aged, because I think he was 20 when he first started.
I think Scotty's having some internet issues. Seems like a good chance to plug the Wirfs article in here. Drop it in the comments.
Yeah, Scotty, the only thing I didn't like about that PFF article is that when they got to Wirfs, they didn't say his name. They just said the guy who got pinned by Tyler Linderbaum. But other than that, I thought that was like, no, I'm just kidding. Like the fact that if he's like in the elite performance, because that article is all about performance.
Yeah.
Like trade value wise, is he not the most valuable tackle in the league right now? Like it's insane.
It's not even close based on his age.
Yeah.
I saw a redraft that someone did. I don't know who it was, unfortunately, but of that 2020 draft, he was the number 1 pick in the redraft. Just because he's that good of a tackle.
Do you ever think about will they ever just swing him over to left tackle?
Yeah, great question. I think when Donovan Smith's contract's up, I mean, first of all, the value of it being like strictly left tackle like it used to be as being so much more important than the right isn't at quite the same. But I do think at the end of Donovan Smith's tenure, how could Wirfs not succeed on that side too? So yeah, I think there's a good chance of that happening. Also, though, if you're that good in your spot, and it would probably depend on his comfort level, and if he showed any apprehension to the idea, then I don't know. But it's absolutely a possibility, Bo, and a good point to bring up.
Yeah, I feel like if I was his agent, I'd be like, yeah, as soon as Donovan Smith's out of there, I'm a left tackle now, and you'll pay me as such.
Yeah, he's going to get paid
regardless,
either way for sure.
Yeah.
And the Bucs will make sure they got money for Wirfs. That's for damn sure. Okay, well,
I've always found I've always found the left tackle, right tackle thing so fascinating that it's just basically boils down to you can't see that side.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's as simple as that, right? Like that's where the value is, and that's why it's so much more important. It's always like quarterback, left tackle, and then go from there. And it's just why is it so much? Oh yeah, quarterback can't see. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought what checks out. Makes sense.
I wonder if the Bucs will just be like, we just need to draft a left-handed quarterback now, and they're fine.
Trade for Tua. Trade Trask for Tua. Scott, yeah, your outdated old school football principles. That could be another chapter, along with your beef with the fact they stopped watch by hand the 40 times. That's just another one I think of. Irritating you.
Imagine the Olympics just being like, we got one guy to do the stopwatch here.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Russian stopwatchers. Like I got it way faster.
Yeah. Yeah. It's how about well, the guy's bringing out the fucking chains to measure a first down, and you can't even tell who. Like, just put someone in the ball. The USFL is doing it right, for Christ's sake. Anyway, you're right, Boom. That would be a long read though if it was just all my grievances about football. So
we're keeping track. We're keeping track of your grievances, and one day we'll just kind of give you some time and to do that. Also, a couple cool items is just some vets who are participating in the offseason workout so far. Shaq Mason traded for a 5th-round pick, obviously in the offseason to take over Alex Kappa's spot at right guard. He moved to Tampa right away, apparently, and he's been all involved in these, voluntary offseason stuff, at least for a vet. And apparently he's been really impressive just in terms of how he's picking things up. So that's always nice to hear. And Tom Brady was out this week throwing at the facility. So nice. Gotta love to see that. I'd rather him be there than in the Fox studios practicing, in advance. So he's got a job to do. He knows what it is. And we've got some more clarity on what that job is going to look like this year. And it's not going to be an easy one. The Bucs have a tall task. You guys probably have no idea because this is just coming out as we're on right now in terms of the Bucs schedule. So you want me to just kind of fire through it and then
let's do it.
Yeah.
It's all out now.
Okay, cool. So you got it in front of you too. Maybe Scott, you want to pull it out, but I'll read through it. Do you guys want to talk game by game, or you want me to just go through it and then discuss any that jump out at us? What do you think?
Yeah, let's go game by game.
All right, cool. All right, week
they got some really nice travel in for the Bucs this year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They had a pretty cushy schedule last year, so it's kind of inevitable. And boy, does their season start off with a challenge in terms of this first 4-game stretch. They start off week 1 at Dallas. So obviously that's like a rematch for them last year, their first game.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing the Cowboys on the road, and that'll be after the Bills travel to LA to play the Rams for the Thursday night kickoff game. And then Russell Wilson immediately travels with Denver to Seattle for week 1 for them. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah, that's wild that they figured that out.
Very, very subtle NFL.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like it though. It's like
week 1, Denver's playing Seattle. It's like every year. I don't think that's how it goes.
It's also that's like the NFL just being like, hey, we know Seattle's going to be fucking horrible this year, so let's get them out first year. Everybody's like, oh yeah, they could just surprise Russ this first week.
Yeah.
Right.
Good luck.
So yeah, Cowboys week 1. We'll see what happens there. That could be a challenge for sure. Any game can be in this league. Week 2, they're staying on the road and they're heading to New Orleans, a team that's obviously had their number, not just the past couple seasons, 4-0 in the last 4 regular season matchups, but a team who's had their number for a long time. 1 p.m. game.
Should we be doing win-loss on these? How do we spice this up a little bit? They go to Tampa. Tampa goes to Dallas. Is it a win or is it an L?
It's a win. That's a win.
That's a win. First game of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, you're heading to New Orleans.
Yeah, heading to New Orleans, and that's a win.
That's a win. Okay.
Jameis is playing. It's his second game back off this torn ACL.
No Sean Payton.
Yeah, no Sean Payton. I mean, the Saints are going to be good, and whatever. I'm not picking the Saints in that game. No way in hell. Brady's going to take that shit personal. He doesn't like losing to a division rival. He's never done that before. He's dominated the AFC East. So
yeah, except for the Saints.
yeah, fair. 2 year sample though. He's got some time to improve that. But anyway, I just think the continuity of the Bucs is valuable, and I mean, again, the Saints did beat them without Jameis last year with Trevor Siemian or whatever, but I just think it's a revenge game, and I think they're going to go 2-0 on the road to start the year.
It's going to be a fun game just because that defense is still really good, and obviously the Bucs offense is ridiculous too. So watching that side, whenever those two are going against each other, is going to be really interesting.
And don't forget the Tyrann Mathieu, Brady, Super Bowl beef. Like,
True.
There's going to be lots of subplots and storylines involved there.
All right, I'll say 1-1 those first 2 games.
That's fair. Yeah. But in isolation, I can't say which one of them being a loss. So
yeah.
The next two though, their home opener week 3 is versus the Packers.
Jesus.
You got to think that one's going to be a primetime game. I don't know if you have that in front of you, Bo.
I do. It's 2:25 on Fox.
2:25. Oh, right.
Sorry, 4:25.
4:25
over there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Man.
In a few, I'll be pretty lit at that time as well. Anyway, so.
2:22. I've never seen that. Or 2:25. Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. You got Brady versus Rodgers. I like that it'll be like only Rodgers' third game without Devontae. Like I because that's a big change to their offense.
Yeah.
I still think that Devontae Adams is a huge hit. Not like anyone would dispute that, but I just think it's massive.
It's like his crutch. It's been like, as much as Aaron Rodgers is unbelievable, he doesn't have the seasons that he's had the last 2 years without Devontae Adams. He's really, really, really good. Literally probably the best receiver off of the line I've ever seen in my life.
Sometimes I don't get football at all in terms of when player movement. I'm like Devontae not being on the team seems like the biggest thing possible for Green Bay. You know what I mean? And everyone's like, "Ooh, gonna be tough to replace that production." Yeah, no shit. It's gonna be tough to replace the best receiver in the league that you got. And everyone's like, "Oh," and I get it. Like, yeah, there's 53 guys on the team. I understand. It's not basketball, whatever. But like, it's just, we'll figure it out. Obviously it's Rodgers throwing the ball, but look, who's he throwing the ball to now? Like, I don't know. That's one of those things I'll never quite get with football transactions, I guess.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take the Bucs there as well.
So they're 3-0 to start the year. I honestly, I would take the Bucs there too. Honestly, I think that.
Calling us the Bucs 5-0 through 3 weeks. If for everyone tracking at home.
So I didn't want to do this. I got to think it out more. But anyway, if you're going to ask me on the spot, I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking on the spot. The home opener. Fire those cannons.
Fire the cannons.
Week 4. Pat Mahomes and crew are coming to town. Jackson Mahomes and his TikTok. It's going to be happening on the pirate ship, on the plank.
This is a Sunday nighter.
Prime time.
This is unbelievable stretch to start a season.
Right? Like,
well, really also the Dallas one's a Sunday nighter as well, too, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah. Okay, sweet. I didn't have that down yet because we were on the air. Good. But yeah, Cowboys, Saints, Packers, and Chiefs. First 2 on the road. Then you got the Packers and Chiefs at home. If you had to have 2 of those as home games, though, I'd want it to be the Chiefs and the Packers.
I agree.
But like, that's going to be a battle, man. That's going to be a tough game. It's literally a Super Bowl rematch, like where it's played, who they're playing, minus Tyreek Hill. So that'll be a fun one, man. Like, if you're going to head down to Raymond James, if you're somewhere else, like that'll be a hot ticket. No question. That'll be a hell of a game. My God, it's gonna be tough to stay sober till prime time for that one.
Yeah, I'd probably take Mahomes in that one just because of the revenge game in Raymond James factor. I think that team's going to be. I think they're going to start the year better than he did last year as well. About it.
Yeah. I think the Bucs are going to prevail. So So yeah, who do you like there, Scott?
Yeah, I'll take the Chiefs. Sure. I don't care.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you guys think the line would be on? I want to know what you guys think the line would be on that game. Chiefs at Tampa week 4. I know it's week 4, but what would you set the line at?
I'd give it to Tampa Bay minus 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably,
especially if they're 3-0 going into that game. I think they have to
tough.
have to hold their home field.
Yeah, something like that. Tampa minus 1.5, less than a field goal for sure.
Yeah.
Then week 5, traveling to Atlanta to play Drake London, Kyle Pitts.
I will
Marcus
happily
Mariota.
give him a W there.
Yeah, see, this is where I think the Falcons might surprise them. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I expect that to be a thumping, good old fashioned thumping.
Mm-hmm.
Week 6. Falcons are at home. If I said on the road, I'm wrong. I meant at home. And week 6 at Pittsburgh. That's a game I'm hoping to be at. Hopefully, I'll be able to cover that for Bucs game day if all goes well. That'd be pretty sweet. But we'll see if they're going to give us our travel credentials. Often takes a little bit to get that. So, but yeah, Steelers. I mean, rookie quarterback. Good night.
Oh yeah. Also nice. Not that it would be a huge factor for Brady, but nice to play that game in October and not late December or something, right? So
yeah,
for sure, 100%. And then after the Steelers, they're going to play Carolina at Carolina. That's week 7.
So it's starting to ease up a bit after those first 4.
Yeah, man. I mean, you go through murder.
It would have to. It was pretty ridiculous those first 4 games. So
yeah, if they can come out 2-2 after the Cowboys Saints on the road and then the Packers Chiefs at home, I think they're in a great position.
You got to think 5-2, right?
Yeah, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Carolina.
That's pretty shitty.
Nice.
Carolina, you're not breaking me. You're not breaking my heart again, Panthers. No way. I'm not going to say one nice word about you until Thanksgiving. Okay, I'm right now. No chance. I'm not being wrong about the Panthers again.
Yeah.
You know, like
no,
look like more of an asshole.
I'd rather be wrong by saying they're going to be shit and they end up being good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scotty. We can die on that hill together for that 2021 hill. Maybe we should stop bringing it up. And then, damn, Bo, you're going to be geared up for this one. Thursday nighter in week 8. They are playing the Ravens at home. One thing I like so far, the 3 best quarterbacks they're playing, 3 best teams are playing, Packers, Chiefs, and Ravens are all at Raymond James. So that's one, light at the end of the tunnel here. That'll be a fun one, man.
That's a sweet game.
Yeah, for a Thursday nighter, right?
Really fun game.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Thursday nighter, 6:15, or 8:15.
One of my favorite.
I love the Thursday nighter. I don't care who's playing.
Oh my god,
it's like the start of the weekend, basically. Like
house money. It's taken a lot of my money, actually.
Oh yeah.
For sure, but the game feels like house money. Like it feels like there shouldn't be football on Thursday.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of money I should have put into my house.
Yeah. So anyway, Ravens and Bucs. I mean, that'll be a tough game. I'll say the Ravens come in and win because I got to pick a loss.
Yeah, these next 2, I'm pumped up for both of these next 2, honestly.
Yeah, man. And then of course you got the Rams at home. The most recent Super Bowl rematch. But that huge NFC playoff defeat. I mean, that if there's a game Tom Brady's going to be motivated for more than any others, I'm not sure whether he's wired that way or not, but it's going to be that one.
And last year when they went to Lo-Fi or Hi-Fi? I can't remember what the name of the stadium is. Yeah. Lo-Fi Stadium. They got their asses handed to them.
SoFi. I'm telling you, Lo-Fi.
SoFi?
Yeah. Scott. And I'm saying like fact, like, it's Lo-Fi.
Yeah. I think I'll just dropping low 5s over here and like, no, I think that's it. Yeah. Break the pickle.
Yeah. Either way, they got killed in that game last year in LA and then losing at home.
Yeah,
in the NFC Conference Championship game. So I think they're due to get one against the Rams. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I think they're going to win that game. I think they're going to be really motivated. Not it takes more than that, but that'll be a hell of a game too, man. And then they travel all the way to Germany to take on the Seahawks in Week 10. I mean, I don't even think jet lag is going to slow them down there. The Seahawks should be awful this season as they're fully embracing the rebuild after moving on from Russell Wilson. I mean, that's a win. I don't know what else you guys want to offer on that one.
I think
this is the one where everyone's going to get talked into taking the Seahawks. Where like, let's just all agree, like, we're not going to do. Remember, we were like, oh, we have to take the Jets. Who were they playing last year?
Atlanta.
When they played
Atlanta.
I think it was Atlanta. Yeah, you might be right. And everybody talked themselves into taking the Jets, and they got killed.
It was Atlanta. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. So yeah, you got that game. Then, naturally they get their bye week. So that'll be a week 11 bye week for the Bucs. I like the timing of that bye week personally.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's
and
awesome.
again, though, the best quarterbacks they're facing so far have all been at home, which I like as I'm, because I'm taking this in as I'm reading it, folks. Like, this is, haven't really had a chance to analyze it. So I'm sure we'll have more thoughts and takes as it relates to this schedule in the episodes to come. So they get that bye week, they get that rest, then they travel to Cleveland, another game I'm hoping to be at, but again, we'll see.
Kind of a dangerous bye week though. Hey, like, that's I think that's Thanksgiving. You're in Europe, you let it go a few extra nights, maybe make it a family trip, maybe send the boys out. I don't know.
Especially for a young team, it would be, but we're not a young team.
Logan Hall's just shirtless in the drunk tank in Munich.
Yeah, I don't know enough about Logan Hall to make him be the likeliest candidate. I'd say Sean Murphy Bunting doing the Irish dance that Scott always references.
Yeah, he's taking a quick trip over to Dublin.
Scott's internet feed seems like he's in Dublin, eh, Bo?
It might be. It's a little laggy, yeah.
So I'll say the Brown. Like, I'm assuming Deshaun Watson's going to be playing and having things figured out. I think that's going to be a tough game though, coming off that bye. The weather could be cool, could be chilly. I don't know. I'll take the Browns there. Sure.
Seems like the best quarterback you'll play on the road.
Yeah, man. I mean, no matter what, we've said it enough, so we don't have to. But I'm excited to watch Deshaun Watson play football again, and with a good roster around him, if he's on the field. So could be a really exciting game. I mean, Browns have a well-built roster. Week 13, they're back at Ray J playing the Saints for the second time. I'm saying they sweep the Saints this year. Fuck the Saints.
So this is new.
So you have 2 losses so far?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I wasn't saying it to be a dick.
Yeah. What do you guys think? You guys think, like, I don't know what you picked on the first Saints game. What do you guys think there?
I think both those Saints games are going to be really tough. I think the best shot is probably this one in December.
For the Bucs to win?
For the Bucs to win, yeah. I think the Saints, hopefully the wheels have kind of fallen off at that point. But this is a Monday nighter. Like, the Saints just seem to get up for these games.
Oh, okay, good. You got to keep telling me that. Monday nighter.
Yeah, sorry.
It's just a brutal. So that's their 12th game against New Orleans. It's just a brutal schedule. I think they're going to be 8-4.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd be happy with that. Yeah. It's hilarious. I wrote down 12-5, like, just like what I think they'll do, and like here I have them with 2 losses through week 13. Then they got the Niners heading to San Fran to play the Niners in week 14. So I mean, we'll see. Is Trey Lance their quarterback? Who knows? We're not going to talk about all these teams right now. It's too much. We just want to fire through this schedule. So and then week 15 at home versus the Bengals. So again, they get Joe Burrow, but they get him at home. 4:25 p.m. game. That must be. I guess that could be CBS. If not, I wonder if Brady will be commentating.
No, it's CBS.
Right, and he's playing.
He's also still playing.
Yeah,
hopefully.
That'd be pretty impressive to hustle up to the booth.
Yeah, that'll be another hot ticket, man. Joe Burrow, like, all the comparisons, if there have been to Tom Brady, just the way he's so, like, fearless in the pocket, so calm in the pocket, so poised. Never been, like, known for having the biggest arm in the world, but boy, does he throw a nice ball between coverage and great touch on the ball. I mean, everyone knows he just got that killer instinct. So I get it. I get the Brady comps for Joe Burrow, man. He's got big balls, and
that's a long embrace at the end of the game.
Yeah, I think so.
Very long.
Although Brady's a psycho, man. He could just be like, we were talking about hi-fi and lo-fi earlier, trying to remember what the Ram Stadium's called. He might do that too slow. Walk right off, right? Like you never know with Tom.
It's a pretty good dad joke too to end the game on. So
yeah,
not out of the realm, that's for sure.
So yeah, that Bengals game is huge. I'll give them a loss there. I'll say they lose one at home to the Bengals.
Here we go.
This is a shit show. I wish I didn't have to predict these.
You don't think that's a loss?
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a loss. Bucs are going 15-2.
There you go. Say it there. Put it out there.
With your chest. Say it with your chest.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're not losing. They're not losing the Bengals. Bengals are too young. And Brady's going to eat up their secondary. All right, Cardinals on Christmas. I think that's a night game too, right?
He said it's an 8:20 NBC Christmas night.
Well, that's the Buccaneers' 5th primetime game, and they'll also have a standalone in that Germany game because it'll be in the morning. So 6 games where you won't have to compete with other. You know, if you're watching your Bucs, you're not going to have to worry about flipping back to check on your fantasy team or the bets that may be trending downward.
Man, those Sunday 4:25 games are like kind of pseudo prime timers themselves too.
Yeah,
right? Like
true.
That's a big spot. This schedule is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously, a bit of a tough draw because they're getting the AFC or the NFC West and the AFC North, which are basically no shitty teams. Like the shittiest team is Seattle out of those 8. So that's tough. Like,
yeah. I'm glad it's not the AFC West though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be saying that this year.
Yeah. I wonder who's got them. So yeah, Cardinals on Christmas. I mean, Cardinals feel like a disaster, even though they got Kyler. Like they feel like a disaster.
Yeah.
And they were a disaster once Nuke Hopkins went down last year anyway. So things aren't looking too great over there.
Any news from DeAndre? Anything happened with him lately?
Yeah, he's suspended.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he said he's going to keep us posted once he figures out what he took.
Yeah, but then I've also seen since then that the trainer he's been working with, like showing videos of working with, has a history of like 4 guys have tested positive working with this guy. So who knows? But either way, he sounds like he'll be suspended. And then the Bucs finish off, which I think is similar to last year. They're going to play the Panthers at home in Week 17, win, and then they're going to play at Atlanta to finish off the year in Week 18. So starts off tough, man, super tough, but some incredibly entertaining games are on the docket this year for Bucs fans, and some amazing quarterback matchups, and the narratives will be free flowing this season. It's going to be crazy. If it's Brady's retirement tour, who knows? But like, it's just going to be wild. Like, what a time to be a Buccaneers fan.
Yeah, I think it's teetering on the. All right, we could use 2 games that are a little bit more of a rocking chair game situation versus this gauntlet that they're running. But as far as like fun matchups against good teams and like testing the Bucs each and every week, it looks like it with this schedule. You're right, Call. Like this is sick.
No,
it definitely speaks to the like parity of the league right now.
It's fun at the very least.
Everyone thinks the NFC is this like kind of cupcake conference right now that like it's for the taking between the Bucs and the Packers, but like the schedules are doing anyone any favors. Like they're all going to be ridiculous. So I can only imagine what an AFC West schedule looks like right now, right?
No kidding. I can't wait to like actually have a look at it, and I'm just glad the ridiculous lead up to this is done with. But it's still nice that we can actually see what these games are, figure out if we can get to any. Right, Bucs are playing not too far from us, fellas. Maybe
man.
Maybe Bucs Banter needs to take a little roadie down to Cleveland, Ohio.
Take the show live.
Yeah.
Kind of upset we have no New England game though. Hey, like, that was going to be a kind of
they kind of
thing
did it
every
last
year.
year, I guess.
Yeah, they had their chance last year.
And that one was in New England.
Yeah.
Too. Right.
So it's funny. So before when I just wanted to like jot my prediction down, I wrote 12-5, which I was like, ooh, that's ambitious, Collin. Like I think their over-under is 11.5. I took the over. But then when we go through each game, I have them 15-2. So I just want to say, the losses will come. They're not only going to lose 2 games, but for the purpose of this exercise, if you make me do it one by one at this point, the moment the schedule comes out, yeah, they're going 15-2, folks. So yeah. Anyway, there you have it. We gave you some Bucs banter, talked about, Brady's broadcasting deal and Cine feeling disrespected by the Bucs, Kyle Trask, all this stuff. And we took you through each game of the 2022 NFL schedule for the Buccaneers. It's going to be a sweet ride. And now the draft's done. The schedule is out. There's some free agency dominoes to fall, sure, but we can really start previewing these divisions, which we did last year. We previewed every division, which was a ton of fun. So we're going to be running through that at some point this offseason, and I'm sure we'll come up with some other creative ways to keep pumping out entertaining content to listen to, of course, with a heavy Tampa Bay Buccaneers bias, as always. After all, this is the Bucs Banter podcast. Make sure you check us out. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, please. It helps us out a lot. Check out bucksgameday.com for all of your written content as it relates to the Buccaneers. And follow us on Twitter. You see our handles up on the screen. We appreciate that too. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. See you soon.